Hello, everyone. We are Team 1, Team Bombshell. We are Chelsea White, John Lewis, Allie McCracken, and Trenton Custer. We're going to be talking about the Chapter 13 topic, Power and Negotiations. Alright, so just to go over a quick outline of what we're going to be discussing, like I said, we're going to talk about the Chapter 13 topic, Power and Negotiations. We will also emphasize on how power is utilized in leadership roles and the effect it can have on businesses and corporations, and the different types of power that currently exist in society. And for the article we'll be discussing, it is called CEOs Call in the Coaches as COVID-19 Tests Their Companies by Joan S. Lublin of the Washington Post. It's a very interesting article that talks about how a lot of CEOs are calling in these dedicated coaches to figure out how to attack the COVID-19 problem and how to maintain their businesses in light of a global pandemic.
Chapter 15 of the textbook covers leadership, power, and negotiations. Power and influence are key characteristics of leadership, as they're essential for managing and leading people. Power is the ability to influence the behavior of others and resist unwanted influence in return, and can be broken down to organizational power and personal power. Organizational power is almost absolute and based on one's authority in a unit, through legitimate power and also through controlling rewards and punishments. Personal power is not as simple. It can be attained without structural authority, through reverence and expertise. Referent power is obtained by having attractive and charismatic attributes that influence others. Expert power is the ability to assert your influence based on your personal achievements, knowledge, and expertise in a given field. Influence is a byproduct of power. It is the ability to change or affect others' behavior and attitudes. Part of influence means problem solving, using interpersonal communication tools such as collaboration or working together towards a common goal, and negotiation, which is the coming together of two differing individuals attempting to agree upon mutually beneficial outcomes. Joanne Lublin's article, CEOs Call in the Coaches as COVID-19 Tests Their Companies, brings in two stories, one of Mindy Grossman, she's the CEO of International Weight Watchers, and Mark Bergnano, who is the CEO of Chemours. These two instances of CEOs utilizing business coaches to create self-awareness of their behaviors and to adjust their management techniques sheds a light on interpersonal relations and leadership tactics that may have been foreign to them prior to seeking business coach advice. Now, these tips from their coaches, it did help them reach their full potential as leaders, and it utilized their power in a way that impacts the business in a positive manner through behavioral and managerial changes, such as Mindy Grossman. Her interpersonal relationships were failing. They were not giving enough enrichment and enough unit cohesion to have a successful team and a successful unit within her industry. So her life coach gave her the tools and the advice necessary to correct those, whereas traditionally it would have taken her much longer to naturally find those on her own, those answers. Mark Vergnano, his issue was he was a pushover. He wasn't holding his people accountable. He was not punishing failures as much as he was rewarding successes. There wasn't a balance or a level of authority and influence there to keep individuals from not reaching their potential and not meeting their goals. These two coaches helped them develop those organizational behavior leadership tactics to push their subordinates and advance their careers at the same time. So because influence is a byproduct of power, you cannot have influence without some modicum of power. even a stranger ordering a coffee before you, if their decision influences you to buy the same coffee, they then are showing expert power. Their past experience of what you just saw transpire gives them a level of power. So you will always have some level of power with influence. But is there a place or a position where you have power without influence? A position or even a past historical figure who had power with zero influence. Since you can have influence without true power, can you have power without any influence?
For the analysis of our PowerPoint, we just want to point out how power is utilized by leaders and how it can negatively or positively affect businesses. For example, how the leaders in the article that we chose adjusted their techniques and behaviors to exert power in a positive manner in order to motivate their teams to have a successful career. The effects of power has on subordinates, such as motivation or demotivation. It really shines through in those articles when it tells about how Mindy Grossman was demotivating her employees or subordinates at the beginning, and she had to adjust herself. Different types of power. What types of power do you need to be a successful leader? To be a successful leader, you need to practice all types of power. Legitimate power to be able to make decisions. Reward power to reward subordinates and team members for their hard work. Coercive power to hold all parties accountable for their actions. Expert power to have the confidence to make decisions that will better the organization. And referent power to motivate your team and assist employees with job satisfaction. The impact collaboration will have on a team member or employee, it can make them feel a part of a team or that their ideas and work are making a difference on the company when leadership collaborates with their team. Last, power can influence negotiation. I know in our PowerPoint and in our paper we don't speak a lot about negotiation, but they all tie in together at the end of it. If a leader utilizes their power properly, they can influence alliances with other departments or even other companies to negotiate deals for the success of an organization. After learning about power and negotiations in Chapter 13, it made me really think about what type of power I exert when I was in a leadership role or a management role, or even what type of power I would need to work on to better my leadership style. I believe that when I was in that management role, I exerted all types and practiced all types of power. Something I would probably need to work on would be reward power or even referent power in the mix of being a manager and taking on your own store, for instance. You get so engulfed in the work that you forget to reward your employees, the ones that are your core who make your business shine. So that's definitely something me personally, I would need to work on. Also, this gave me a lot more insight on collaborating with my employees or teammates for that matter. It can often lead to low job satisfaction if a leader doesn't acknowledge ideas or consider their input.
In conclusion, power can be extremely effective and impactful in the business world. It all depends on how one utilizes their power. Legitimate, rewarding, coercive, expert, and referent power all tie together in business and are the foundation for success of a company. Therefore, the ability to appropriately utilize one's power in order to achieve the goals of an organization is an essential part of being a leader.